Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to be proceeding with our CAD. In this lecture, I want us to focus on diagram number 3 right there. Number 3. So it's going to be built upon several things that we've done, and we're going to be introducing some other options in designing component number 3. Let me zoom into it. So that's our component number 3. So there's several ways of drawing component number 3. We can first of all draw the two-dimensional shape, ignoring the ribs here. We can draw this L shape, and then we can dimension it and come up with several other things. But I'm going to adopt a different technique that we applied in drawing the second part of drawing of component number 4 that we started with, which is basically starting with the whole rectangle. Then I'll remove this part, I'll remove this other part, and start to include several other features in this section. Okay, why am I avoiding drawing this L shape and then modifying it? The process of modifying these values, there are so many, there are going to be plenty of dimensions to modify. So I don't want to waste a lot of time modifying and dimensioning this component. Okay, so I'll make a rectangle and then start to cut out different features in this component. So let's dive right in. So I'm going to be opening my ProE software. One thing that I should have done, but no problem, we'll wait for it. It will not take much long to initialize. Okay, now let's create a new file which we're going to term as practice question 5. Click done, designing using millimeters, and that's it. We're going to be designing from the front plane or the front view of this component. Okay, you see now the dimensions are very visible here. Alright, now let's make this from the front, getting into the sketch mode and starting to sketch. So I need the rectangle first, the whole rectangle, the solid rectangle before it is cut. We don't know how to make this rectangle and modifying those values. So instead at first we select everything and start to modify one by one. Uncheck regenerate. What are these dimensions? Let me check them, let me verify them. So we have got a depth of 40 plus what? This is, I think this is 10 throughout. Is it 10 throughout? The dimensions are also very, very important. So this must be 10 throughout, and this is 40 plus 10. I'm trying to see if it is really 10 right there. Okay, so let's assume that this is 10. So that's 10. So it becomes 40 plus 10, which is 50. This distance, the total distance is 50, and we have got a breadth of 30 plus 40, which is 100, which is actually 100 right there. So let me design this. What? 40? No, that's not. Is it 40 again? So this is 50 actually. 50, and this is 100. Just make sure that this is 100. Yes, it makes sense. This is 100, and that is what? That is half of 50, which is 25. Half of 100, which is 50, and I think I'll be done with the rectangle. You can click OK, no problem. It's your rectangle, which I'm going to extrude to a distance of what? I'm going to be extruding in the middle of that. Which will be extruded in the mid of what? 58. So that's 58 right there. Okay, so I'm going to be extruding both ends to 58. And then I'm going to click done. So that's your rectangular block that we get right there. And I'm going to be selecting this face so that I'll start to cut out some components right there. Okay, so what is the first part which I'm going to cut out? Here I'm going to cut out this 40 by what? 40 by 20 rectangular component here. So this is 40 by 20, and then I'll do it on the other side. Okay, so let's make some sketch references. My rectangular sections, cutout section that I'm going to make is going to be utilizing this edge and this edge. Basically, click OK and close. Then I'll make a rectangle. Get out of the command. So we say this distance is 40 and this one is 20. This one is 20 since this is 30 minus 10, which is 20. Let me put a 20 right there. I'll click done. I'll extrude by removing material in the right direction to a distance of what, 58. I can put it as 59 or 60. I can just put 6 to make sure that it is being cut throughout. Something wrong. It is not specified 60. Visualize again. Yes, now we're having a cutout. Through cutout. Extrusion number 2 is still selected, and I can make a mirror of this component about this right plane. So I'll select a mirror like I did previously, the same component, and it is saying select the plane or the mirror plane, and I'm going to be selecting it, this one, to get this part. So that's it, just been made, and I'm done. Okay, I'm going to be selecting this face again to cut out the middle feature, central feature, rectangular feature that I have. And this component is a 40 by what? By 40, I guess. This distance must be 40 since this is 10. Okay, just hope the dimensions are correct. So my rectangle, it is utilizing this edge basically as a reference. Let me add that as a reference. Sketch the reference right there. Okay, and close. And make the rectangle. I'm going to be making this rectangle like that. Let's modify some values. This distance, we say this is 40. So this is actually a square. 40 by 40 by 20. Okay, so that is done. Let me cut out this segment by removing material in the right direction to a distance of, I can put it as 60 still. Make sure that it is cutting fully. Click OK. So that is done. I have got a perfect end shape right there. So far so good. Brilliant. And now we need to move into the next part. I'm going to make these ribs of this component. There are two of them. So they are not showing you the part, but there are two of them. This is a symmetric component. Every feature that you see here has been reproduced on the other end or on the other half of this component. So let me make this rib here. Let me make it at this end. So I'll select this plane. That's where I'm going to be designing this rib. Let me make some references. I'm going to need this as a reference. I'm going to need that as a reference. I'm going to need this as a reference, and also this. Put as many as you want. No problem. Designing that using the line option. And it closes perfectly. Get out of the command, nothing to change the values since all the sides of the triangle cut out have been made as references or based on the reference sides of the previously drawn rectangle. So that's it, that's done, and click OK. And then I'm going to be extruding on both sides of this component. A thickness of what? Thickness of 10. Change this value to 10. And brilliant. Comes out perfectly fine. Comes up perfectly fine. And I'm going to do the same thing by mirror this component about this plane. Select a mirror option, and I'll select this, and I'll click done. Get another component right there. Now let's make some circles. So I'm going to make the 4 circles on these surfaces right here. We're going to make these circles, or rather we can just use this part. Okay, for sketching that. So let me make some circles. Sketch. Now this circle is what I'm going to draw a circle, and then I'm going to reference it properly. I'm going to draw one, and then I'm going to reproduce all the 4 in the following manner. Let me make a circle. Okay. Now I'm going to reference this circle. I've been given this edge. I've been given what? So I've been given a 10 right there and a 12 from the upper edge. It is 12, and it is what again? The center is also about 20 from this inside edge. 20, so this is 10 plus 10 to that. Yes, that's it. Or it is also 10 from here to there. No problem. Alright, so let me reference this. Let me create my own dimensions, which is from the center to this edge. I'm going to make this, and also from the center to this edge right here, and then I'm going to be clicking with the wheel right there. Any other dimensions that I have been given? Oh, this one again. No problem. We can properly reference it as follows. So the circle is of a diameter of what? 10. The circle has got a diameter of 10. Let me put that as 10. And this edge here is what? From the upper part of side, it is 12. And this part is now 10. That's it right there. It's coming up perfectly well. If you're happy with that, we can now click OK. But let me just verify these dimensions one more time. So this is 20, this is 10, and this is also 10. The horizontal distance. Alright, perfectly well. Perfectly well. Click OK. Make. Now I'm going to be drilling this thing, or making this wall the right direction and removing material. So as you can see, just by placing a 31.49 to extrude through, make a through hole, which I'm going to be clicking OK. So that's done. Let me see if I can get this wall again by mirroring it about the front plane. Same hole which has been selected. See if it comes up perfectly well. Yes, it comes up perfectly well. So the mirrored hole is now selected. Let me see if I can mirror it about the right plane to get the other holes. Not extrude, but mirror about this plane. Yes, and this one selected. Let me mirror this one again about this plane. Perfect. So far so good. Perfectly done. But we are not yet done. We are not yet done. We want to make the feature on the upper part of this component. Wow. So let's dive right in. I'm going to be selecting the top face, and I'm going to go into the sketch mode and sketch. Now the feature that I'm having here is made up of a rectangle in the middle and two semicircles on the ends of the rectangle. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be sketching a rectangle right here. So let me see the dimensions of this rectangle. So we have got a 10 and a 12. 10, that's a depth, and 12, that's the breadth. So this is 10, and this whole part is 12, and what else? Oh, now I need to calculate this distance again. Let me see if I can calculate that, but if I cannot calculate this to where, I should have put my own dimensions right there. So let me actually undo it. I don't want to calculate a lot of things here. Let me modify these values. So I need this edge and this edge. So let me put this one from here. Not really. From this part to this part. That's what I want, so that this one will vanish away. So I want this part. Where is this thing? This part to this part. Vertical distance right there. Now click OK. Definitely the dimension that had been automatically assigned will vanish away. And I have to do this again. So which side, this total side is what? This total side is 12, and this total side is 10. This also, this part is what? This part is half of 10, which is 5. Yes, like that. And this part is 6, half of 12. I hope I'm getting these dimensions correctly. Yes, that is done. So that's our rectangle. Let me just verify if I've got the correct rectangle here. So that is 10 and 12. That's it. Perfectly fine. Now I need to make some semicircles here. I'm going to select the circle option. But before I select the circle option, let me see. Yes, I can select that. So I selected the circle option. Then definitely I need to assign the center, and this is the center of the circle. Moving that, it will be snapped to the edges of the rectangle, so I'm going to click OK, and doing the same thing about here. Yes, it is done like that. Now I need to remove unwanted segments right here. I need to remove a lot of unwanted segments. I'm going to be using or introducing another option, which is the delete segment or the trim option. I'm going to be selecting this one option, and I'm going to be removing unwanted segments. Yes, a number of segments will be deleted. Do I still have some more? Oh, perfect. I don't think I still have any other ones. Let me zoom. Yes, there were some which are still left. So that is the shape that we get on top of this surface. That's the shape. So I am going to cut out this shape by extrusion, by removing material. Okay, now let's see. Let me fit this thing. Okay, now there's a little bit of an error here. It is not selecting. Let me debug what is really happening here. Alright, so I am going to make the top feature here in another manner, not utilizing the rectangle, because I've seen that in the previously taken steps it was giving me an error. I think it was an intersection. So let me redo this part using some lines. So let me make this rectangle, and then I'm done. Now let me make a semicircle. Now, but before I do that, let me modify these dimensions. We said the total distance here was 12, and this distance was 10, and this distance definitely becomes 5, and I think I need a 6 somewhere here. I need to put a 6 right there. So that's another opportunity to recap if you had not gotten the concept. Now let me make a circle. I'm going to click that end, and then I'll make another circle using this mid part. Click at this end, and then I am done. Now I'm going to be deleting some segments. I'm going to be deleting this one, all the segments here, all the segments, and I have to zoom out or to zoom in to make sure that all the segments have been deleted, and I think they have been deleted successfully. Then I'll click done. Let me see if I can extrude. Now this time I can extrude easily. Okay, now we want to extrude by removing material in the downward direction. Just by default, this value will make sure that I have got a through hole here. So I'll click done. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is your component number 3. So the first 4 components have been done. They have been done properly using our ProE. This is just the beginning. This is the entry level. We're going to be doing greater things than these using our ProE. Okay, so make sure you practice the first 4 diagrams, because we're going to be taking this concept even higher to draw more complex diagrams. Okay, so let me see you in the next tutorial. See you there.